Now presenting Minutes with Michael, with your host, Michael. Hello and welcome back to Minutes with Michael. Now, as I reported yesterday on my Facebook thread, I deleted it because I was able to recover this data. My computer has gotten really full. I could be using my phone or my tablet, but these already take enough time, and that would take even more time. So I jumped back to using my computer for my recording for a smaller file size. I have ordered a flash drive thingamajonger, a thingamajonger. A hard drive that plugs into my laptop through USB-C. It's going to be great, but that means I have to follow my time constraints this time around and keep this to 5 or 6 minutes. So, COVID conspiracy. We're going to deal with just a couple, and we'll split this up over the next few days just because I want to tackle this, and I want to keep it light, and I want to keep it short. COVID conspiracy. So, I actually heard from some of my friends about which conspiracies to tackle. I can't tackle them all because of time, but here's a good one. 5G causes the coronavirus. Now, I'm not an expert, but I do work in telecommunications, and I can promise you 5G is a wavelength, just like a microwave or a telecommunications wave or really any frequencies, even like stuff we see has to do with frequencies. I'm telling you 5G does not cause the coronavirus. For a novel, new virus to just kind of pop out of nowhere because of 5G, you say, well, I don't believe there are viruses. Dude, there are some conspiracy theories you just can't help. They're going to believe whatever they want to believe no matter what. So no, 5G does not cause the coronavirus. Again, the made in a lab thing. You say, well, it was made in a lab to take over the world. Nope. Again, if you're going to make a virus, it's going to look a lot different especially because you build it on a virus framework that's already been known to hurt humans. You mutate that a little bit, send it out, Spanish flu, whatever. In this case, if somebody was making this in a lab, why would they choose this COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2 that they found in like a bat or a pangolin that's never been known to hurt humans? If you tweak that a little bit, why would you start with that? Again, I know that sounds kind of silly to some, but interestingly, when you manufacture a virus, you manufacture one that already is known to hurt people, and then you make it even worse. You don't start with one that's never been known to hurt people because you don't know if that. Long story short, it's not made in a lab. There's a couple of funny memes out there. One of them shows like a zombie heading for a person. Brains. I put it in the comments or something if I can, or I'll just describe it, whatever. And they're all like, brains. And then this one guy, he's standing there and he's confronted with the zombies. And then he goes, coronavirus was made in a lab to shut down churches. And then the zombie turns around and goes, ew, there's no brains, And he said, that's not nice. I know, it's kind of uncharitable. But the point is, the coronavirus was not started in a lab. It was not started on purpose, deliberately, to wreak havoc and shut down nations and cause it. Just the evidence doesn't point that way. And even though that theory is a lot more fun, the evidence just doesn't point that way. The science doesn't lead that way. Now, we may be completely proven wrong, but I'm not going to waste a moment of my time thinking something to be true when it doesn't seem like it is. Now, the real possibility for conspiracy is, are there people out there who are going to try to use this as an opportunity to, take over the world?
Gee, Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Maybe. And so we're actually going to discuss that in another part as far as, did Bill Gates invent this to enact his quarantine policy? And we'll talk about that tomorrow. But another funny one that I got, this is from my missionary friend in Zambia, Africa, where I used to live, love it. He's heard this over there. The coronavirus doesn't affect Africans because they're black. Nope.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
There are people of all sorts of ethnicity getting this thing. No. This germ doesn't discriminate. I want to backtrack really quick on the 5G thing. Let's say 5G did somehow cause a mutation which caused this virus. Weird. We're talking like Big Bang from nothing kind of, neo-Darwinian level of faith here, okay? But let's say that did happen. Why would it happen in places where there is no 5G? It just wouldn't make sense. Okay, so there's just a couple that I'm really trying to keep these short, but that's just a couple. Book recommendation. It's another big one, but it's really cool. This one's called Theistic Evolution. This is another one that I haven't finished. It's just huge. It's a monster. I'm not saying that to discourage you. It's 963. If you include the glossary, it goes all the way up to, I bet they did this on purpose, like 909. Oh, no, there's 1,007 pages. It's big. You say, why that one? Well, I got to talking about Francis Collins yesterday, and he's the National Institutes of Health Director, and he's big in theistic evolution. They call it evolutionary creationism for a different spin on it. But this book is a big one, and one of the fellows who writes in this guy, Stephen C. Meyer. Oh, he's smart. I really like him. He's great. And so basically, the book points out problem with the neo-Darwinian way of thinking about the origin of species, okay? And you say, Pastor, what do you believe about that? Well, I believe God created the world. I believe we were given a 6-day, 7-day structure on purpose in Genesis for a reason. The people in the Old Testament clearly took it literally. And you say, well, what if it's not? What if evolution's true? That doesn't change about the resurrection, right? The resurrection's true. It doesn't change about Jesus, this amazing rabbi who walked around and was different than everybody else and introduced the gospel of the kingdom. No, it doesn't change any of that. Is it a possibility that God used some evolutionary framework to create the world? Maybe, sure. A lot of God-fearing, awesome people believe that. But the book I've recommended to you, Theistic Evolution, the subtitle is A Scientific, Philosophical, and Theological Critique. It deals with those sorts of questions. And it deals with why that's almost certainly not true. Again, there's a lot of compelling arguments on each side. Don't be so closed-minded or say, nope, not true, God said it, I believe it, that settles it. Well, there's always something to learn, okay? With that being said, I like to expose myself to really, really good scholarly stuff on each side of the issue. And you say, well, that's above my head. It doesn't have to be. Don't belittle yourself. I'm sure you've got a lot of opportunity to learn and a lot of resources at hand. Take advantage of those things and learn something. Nothing should be above your head. In fact, a lot of these fellows who write these academic works also write what they call popular level works. A great example is I was just listening to something live today by Mike Licona. He wrote a very popular level book about the resurrection, and then he wrote an academic tome about the resurrection, like 900 pages. So anyways, there's always something out there for everybody. This has already gone long enough. COVID conspiracies, just dealt with a couple of them, the 5G thing and just some stuff. What we're going to do with tomorrow about possible conspiracy theories around any sort of reactions or responses to this virus. And then on the last part, which is probably going to be part 4, we're going to deal with a pastoral approach to coronavirus. 9/11, Hurricane Katrina, coronavirus. Did God send these to smite the evildoer? Well, I think we need to be very careful about taking that approach, and we're going to tackle that on day 4. So, thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hey there, me again. I just wanted to point out a cool video to you that's on a page on the livescience.com website. It's pretty cool. Gives a little bit more information and a few better answers as to why this coronavirus was almost certainly not made in a lab. And it's not done with any vitriol or to debunk anybody, but it's done to give people peace of mind. So take a look. This has been Minutes with Michael, with your host, Michael.